Good morning, everybody. I am Trudy Hansen. I am the chairman of the call committee, and I wanted to kind of give you an update of where the call committee is at and also the results of the survey. And the first thing I'd like to say is thank you, thank you, thank you. Probably 95% responded to the survey that was sent out. It was a gift because I was so grateful, and it told me that our congregation cares. They care about what's in our future. They care about different aspects. And so I am so grateful that you spent the time to complete the survey and send it back. So here you go. The first couple questions of the survey, we asked, how much experience are you looking for in our future pastor? And you were given options like first call, a minister looking for call. You were given the option of 1 to 3 years, 4 to 9, or more. And the overwhelming response was no preference. And that tells me that the congregation, no matter what our pastor's experience is, we are going to be there to lift them up, support them, and assist them. And so that was a huge statement for me. As far as the top 3 important issues that were responded to, it was number 1, of course, was preaching and worship. That's part of who we are. And the second one is building a sense of community. And that wasn't a surprise either, because every person that walks through our door can tell we are welcoming. We're glad to see them. They can see it on our face. They can see us as we welcome them. And that's part of building a community within the church and outside our doors. Number 3, pastoral care and visitation, but there's a little caveat to that number 3. Evangelism was like a fraction of a point close to that. And so I'm putting number 3 as pastoral care and visitation and evangelism, that we see the importance of evangelizing and telling others about God. As a congregation, the options were we tend to be informal and spontaneous, and we tend to be formal and structured. It was pretty overwhelming that we're informal and spontaneous. You can tell by how we interact in the narthex before before church, and how we welcome people and enjoy seeing each other every week and at other events. As a congregation, we have clearly defined goals and plans for our future. We have no clearly defined goals or plans for our future. The majority said we don't have any goals. And I think a lot of that is we're in such an uncertain period of time here at Community Grace, with the unknown of what our future is and where we're going. But some of the goals that you probably don't hear about is our vision board. Our vision board has goals. They're working on our budget for next year. They're working on plans for our future. At every meeting, they have goals that they are striving to achieve to make our future better or, exciting for all of us. And as far as the call committee goes, the call committee, you don't hear about us a lot either, but we are meeting every 2 weeks. We're putting together the documentation that we need to submit to the synod so that they can start searching for a pastor for us. Our plan is that we are going to have the majority of the paperwork done by Christmas. And then after the first of the year, when the vision board when we're done with our stewardship, what do they call that? Yes, that's it. With our stewardship campaign, they can put together a budget for 2024, and that they can give that to us to add to the paperwork that we need to submit to the ELCA. And once that is done and they have the paperwork, and then we go forward with looking for a new pastor. And so we all have goals that we're working on, and each person that has taken on a task in the congregation have goals for their committees. And so there's so many goals that's going on in our congregation right now, and we just don't hear about them, and we should. As a congregation, we are racially and economically diverse, and the majority of the congregation agreed with that, you know, we welcome everyone and we enjoy seeing everyone. Our leadership style, we prefer ideas that are tried and true. We welcome ideas that are provoking and challenging. This was almost within a point of the same numbers. And so that tells me that the congregation not only like their tried and true ideas that we have and that we do all the time, but they also welcome the ideas that are challenging, that are new, that we haven't ever thought of before. And so that's exciting for the future too, because when we go into the future, you know, we'll have more ideas that can help us to grow. Our leadership style. We rely on leaders for direction. We rely on group decision making. The majority was we do rely on our leaders for direction. And that's what our vision board is doing, is looking to the future, building on that, and everything that they're working on now is helping us to make a good future for Community Grace. Our leadership style. We have learned how to use conflict constructively, and we tend to perceive conflict as something destructive. The majority said we learn how to deal with conflict constructively. With this time period in Community of Grace, we have so many uncertainties, so many things that we used to do, we don't do anymore, which can be a conflict. We have, you know, trying to come up with new ideas and trying to go out and tell people. We've learned that how we can do this and how we can make it better. So we may not be doing the same things we've done in the past, but we're coming up with ideas that kind of conflict with how we used to do things, but now we're coming up with new and exciting things. And so it's a good thing. Our programs, our facilities are used by community groups, our facilities are used by our activities. The majority said both, and we do. Our facility is a beautiful place for anybody to use. It's well kept up. After painting, it looks awesome. And so between, you know, Scouts and we are a voting place, and you know, we're hoping that maybe this year other churches will come together and use our space also. So we have the optimum space for other people to use our facilities. Our programs, we focus on ideas and beliefs. We focus on skills and action. And again, it was overwhelming that we do both. We have always used our ideas and our beliefs to lead the congregation in whatever part that interests you the most. But then we use our skills and we use our actions to step forward and say, I'm going to do that. And I'm going to take this to this level. And so another good thing. Our theological perspective, we are obviously Lutheran in identity and practice. We are less obvious about the Lutheran heritage. It was pretty overwhelming that we are Lutheran in identity and practice. Probably there was a few that said we weren't, and a lot of that I think is you know, our signage, you know, people not knowing where we are, things like that. But again, in the future, we're looking to the future and seeing what more. We have ideas, and we're confident that it's going to be a good. Our theological perspective, on to the next. Our theological perspective, we participate in Synod and ELCA activities. We're not very active in the Synod activities. The majority said we are. Sometimes seems like we don't because they have so many opportunities for us, but we do participate with the ELCA, and we do some things. And looking into the future, it would be great to start doing more and more activities that they have with them, because they have a lot of opportunities for us. And at a certain point, we are going to be, looking at doing more, and that's a good thing. Our theological perspective, we focus on biblical studies and doctrine. We focus on contemporary issues and topics. The majority said we focus on Bible studies and doctrines, but we're also looking, we've had, in the past, we've looked at the ELC mission statement and gone through that. We've looked at things in life that are hard to talk about, but we did. And so we are getting more and more into mixing doctrine, but also having doctrine, but also having more life Bible studies, and to see how that goes, I guess. But again, that's a good thing. And so there's a lot going on in the church. There's a lot, and it's all going forward. There's changes, there's optimism. And so the call committee continues to work. We have goals of accomplishing that, and we're excited about when we get to the part where we get to find our new pastor. I'm going to put a copy of the survey, the printout actually from where it all came from, on each of the bulletin boards. So if you like details, you can look. They have pies and percents and all of that, and so there's more for you to look at. But these are the basics of how the survey came out and what the call committee's doing. Any questions? Comments? So going forward, it's all good. And so it's exciting. There may be things, if you ever have questions about the vision board, the call committee, don't be afraid to ask, because we're all working hard for the future. Thank you.